to track him down. When they failed to do so, they got together a search and rescue team. This time, the outcome wasn't so bright. Unfortunately, bad weather prevented the search teams from conducting a thorough search, and on June 28, 2017, Brian's body was discovered, covered with deep snow. Number 3, Randy Rasco. On November 19, 2015, park rangers at the Mammoth Cave National Park in Kentucky noticed that a car had been sitting in the car park for around 2 weeks. This immediately set off warning bells, and after doing some digging for information, they discovered that the car belonged to 40-year-old Randy Rasco. As the car had been there for quite some time, the park rangers set about searching for Randy right away. But when he couldn't be found in or near the parking area, they opened an investigation and widened their search. Park rangers and investigators contacted Randy's family to see if they had spoken to him, but chillingly, they had been out of contact for a few months. According to his sister Sherry, up until May 2015, everything was normal. On a regular basis, he was doing his normal things, hunting, fishing, and kept in contact with her brother, who lived close to his Bowling Green apartment. Then one day, out of the blue, he packed up his belongings, quit his job, and had his mail forwarded to another address, and just left. Sherry said they filed a missing persons report after they found out he had just fled, and were worried as he had recently gotten divorced. For a month, the Rasco family waited for any news, and in June, he was found safe and sound in Washington State. Randy made it clear that he didn't want to speak to his family at that time and wanted to be alone. As painful as it was, his family respected his boundaries and assured him they would welcome him back with open arms whenever he was ready. For the next few months, it's believed that Randy traveled all around the U.S., all while maintaining his privacy and secrecy. His family didn't know that anything was wrong until the Mammoth Cave National Park Rangers contacted them to let them know that his car had been found abandoned. With this second disappearance, his family hoped that there would be a faster resolution. But sadly, as of 2022, Randy Rasco is still missing. Search crews, volunteers, and even the Civil Air Patrol all joined in the search for Randy, scouring the over 53,000 acres of land in the park. Despite their best efforts and multiple searches, no sign of Randy has ever been found, and his car is the only clue we have in terms of his mysterious disappearance. Randy Rasco is described as a white male, 6 foot 2 inches tall, with black hair, hazel eyes, and a slim, athletic build. Anyone with any information is asked to please contact the Mammoth Cave National Park at 270-758-2180. Number 2, Maureen Kelly. 19-year-old Maureen Kelly embarked on what she thought would be a spiritual adventure of a lifetime. However, this adventure quickly turned sour, and she's been missing ever since. On June 19, 2013, Maureen and a group of friends arrived at the Canyon Creek Campground in the Gifford-Pinchot National Park in Washington State. Ready to camp and hang out together and have a good time. The friends were relaxing and taking in the natural beauty of the park when Maureen abruptly announced that she was going on a spiritual adventure. She took off all of her clothes, removed her shoes, and was equipped with nothing but a fanny pack that is believed to have held a pocket knife, a compass, and a few matches. After declaring that she was going on a spiritual adventure, Maureen headed out into the woods, never to be seen again. Maureen didn't tell her friends how long she was going to be or even where she was headed, but they figured she would be back no later than a few hours to tell them all about her spiritual journey. As darkness rolled in and Maureen still hadn't returned, a group of friends alerted the Skamania County Sheriff's Office and she was officially reported missing. There were added concerns about welfare due to the fact that she left without clothes, shoes, food, water, and within hours, a huge search and rescue mission began. Volunteers, park rangers, and search and rescue coordinators combed through the park, looking for any sign of her. But despite their best efforts, it was as if she had vanished into thin air. One clue did surface, however, and as search teams were looking on the ground, they came across footprints, bare footprints, that were the same size as Maureen's feet. Working on this singular clue, sniffer dogs are brought in an attempt to trace her scent, but due to the rainfall, they were unable to pick up anything. The footprints showed that Marine had perhaps headed north towards Forest Service 54 Road, but as previously mentioned, the trail ended where the road began. Helicopters were brought in, but they were unable to search for Maureen in the initial hours and days following her disappearance due to severe weather conditions.
Come on, bitch, get over there.
Hero Maureen Kelly remains missing, and the almost that very night. But as her body has never been found, nobody knows for sure. Maureen is described as an Asian Pacific Islander with black hair, brown eyes. She stands 5 foot 7 inches tall and weighs about 150 pounds. Anyone with any information is asked to please contact the Skamania County Sheriff's Office at 509-427-9490 and reference case number 13-04081. Number 1, Kat Amontre. On April 11, 2019, 68-year-old Kat Amontre, her dog Tootsie, her husband, her daughter, and a group of other hikers set off into the San Felipe Desert in Baja California.
Oh, shit.
The group were either headed for or near the Diablo Canyon when tragedy struck. In this community, we know all about places with devil in the name. According to the Seattle Times, Kate had lived in Mexico for the past 20 years.
That's my mommy.
Trip to Seattle, Washington to visit her friends and family. The details surrounding Kat's disappearance are sparse, but here is what we do know. According to Kat's daughter, Desiree Blair, about 10 minutes into the hike, Kat complained that she had hurt her foot or ankle and told the group that she would take a quick break while they continued on. Her husband later commented that the injury seemed severe, and he believed the cat may have actually broken her foot or ankle. The group left Kat and her dog Tootsie behind as they made their way to the waterfall. And as they circled back around, Kat was nowhere to be found. Her husband, Warren Sundquist, went and waited at their car, thinking that perhaps she'd headed there, but she never showed up. Hours passed, and there was no sign of Kat. The group and her family reported her missing. Kat was very familiar with the area and showed no concerns about being left alone while the others finished their hike. She also apparently showed no signs of distress, making her disappearance all the more mystifying. After Kat was reported missing, search and rescue crews, volunteers, and even the Mexican Armed Forces all pitched in to help find her. But as of 2022, no trace has ever been found. The authorities in San Felipe did believe at one point that someone in the hiking group may have been responsible, however. Although everyone present was questioned and no charges have ever been brought about. One theory suggests that Kat perhaps stumbled across cartel activity and that she was taken out by what she saw. Another theory is that Kat was attacked by a wild animal. But the first attending officers noted that the scene was devoid of any signs of a struggle.
Got my ass. You fucking damn.
In March of 2022, Kat Amontre and her dog, Tootsie, remain missing, and her family are desperate for answers. Anyone with any information is asked to contact the San Felipe Police Department at 686-577-1134. Eric Richard Beeler. Pam and Eric Beeler were described as a couple that were almost fused together, choosing to live their lives almost as one. The pair had met in 1989, and by 1990, the two had gotten married. Eric and Pam dreamed of living a more remote and rural lifestyle, and decided to pack up their things and spend their time traveling through the U.S., looking for the perfect hideaway from the outside world. Eric worked as an artist, creating beautiful posters and pieces, while Pam had recently lost her mother to cancer and had previously devoted all of her time to her care. After getting married, Pam and Eric moved to a quiet part of Vermont, but this was far from the isolation they had been craving. After pondering where to go next, Eric and Pam finally settled on the shore of Lysianski Inlet, close to the small Alaskan village of Pelican. This inlet meant they were almost completely cut off from the outside world, save for a small boat that would take them into the village. Eric and Pam thrived in their new environment, creating water collection systems and living off the land as much as they could. Those in Pelican who knew Pam and Eric described them as happy and warm. The pair would regularly travel to Pelican for art and music events. When these events weren't happening, the wasn't uncommon for weeks to go by without the couple venturing into town, but the townsfolk had grown to realize that Pam and Eric were more than capable of taking care of themselves. Then, in the 2000s, the couple received some devastating news. Pam was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, a condition that causes the immune system to attack the spinal cord and brain. Sadly, the outlook for MS sufferers is often bleak, with severe pain and damage being the two main symptoms. In 2022, treatments for MS sufferers are much better than they were in the 2000s, although research into the condition still has a long way to go. For some sufferers, the disease limits their lives and can often decrease their lifespan. Pam and Eric knew that the outlook of this diagnosis was bleak and began to retreat into themselves even further. By 2018, Pam's condition was almost unmanageable, and while the Bealers tried to keep up good impressions, those closest to them knew that something wasn't quite right. Eugene Soloyov, who runs the Sitka Art Gallery, had known Eric and Pam for many years, and Eric had regularly given him his hand-carved wooden items to display and sell. Eugene remained there for years. Eric had told him that when Pam's condition became too much, the pair planned to opt out. Pam could not bear to live with the condition anymore, and Eric could not bear to live without his wife. September 12, 2018 was the last time that Eric and Pam Bealer were ever seen alive. The two left their home and headed for their summer cabin on the outer coast of Jacoby Island, close to Pelican Bay. Weeks went by without any contact from the couple. Neither Eric nor Pam had made the trip into town to gather supplies, and Eric had not visited the Sitka Gallery to deliver more intricate hand drawings. It wasn't unusual for the two to be on the road for weeks, and some months since their last contact was
Oh, shit.
two friends decided to check on the couple. On October 10, 2018, two concerned friends made the journey to the Bealers' isolated cabin, only to be met by a note. The cabin had been completely abandoned, and the note taped to the front door read, "To the world and all concerned. This is to officially notify you that Eric and Pam Bealer, by their own choice and own free will, have opted out. We have gone to some effort to hide our bodies, but we do not want them found. Please do not waste time and money looking. Give us our no purpose. We are gone. Leave us to our peace. Yes, we have taken the dog with us, and we set the chickens free." Their belongings had been neatly boxed up, and there were a series of letters from various friends and family members. Eric and Pam also left behind handwritten wills, asking those who discovered the abandoned cabin to donate Eric's art to the gallery. They also requested that the proceeds from the sale of their property and anything inside could be donated to the Sitka Conservation Society. Friends and family members were devastated by the news, understandably, and the Alaskan State Troopers opened an investigation. In a few months before their disappearance, Eric and Pam had spoken to a financial advisor about their wills, and the advisor told the troopers that there was no indication of what was to come. Eugene, the owner of the gallery, had attempted to talk to Eric multiple times. Some of them mentioned that Eric and Pam's family members were possibly aware of Eric's plans. Jonathan Taylor, an Alaskan State Trooper spokesperson, told KTOO, "I did not locate any sign of Eric from the air flight. We have not found any evidence or indication as to who it may be. And given the great combination of the notes that were left behind, it seems apparent that we might not actually be in the search for Pam and Eric Bealer was officially suspended. The couple was declared deceased in absentia a year later in June 2019. Those who knew and loved the Bealers still have many questions that linger, and likely their bodies will never be found. If you or anyone you know is struggling with thoughts like these, please reach out. You're not alone. There are hundreds of support networks with there are some numbers that you can call for help. In the U.S., 1-800-273-8251. In the UK, 116-123-4999. New Zealand, 1737. Mexico, 55-5259-8121. Ireland, 116-123. France, 3114. Germany, 16. Canada, 1-832-456-4566. Australia, 131114. You are loved and cared for. Number 4, Fred Frowns. 49-year-old Fred Frowns.
Oh man, got two more to go.
2003, around 10 a.m. Fred had planned to go snowshoeing to Hogsback on Mount Hood, a ridge that sits at an elevation of around 10,400 to 11,000 feet in the state of Oregon. His
What you
wife,
squad
Marion, and
coming?
his two children were waiting for him, and before he left, he told his wife that he would be back at the parking lot by 5 p.m., and that if he wasn't there, she could assume that something had gone terribly wrong. Fred's last words served as an eerie prediction of what was to come. As 5 p.m. came around and there was no sign of Fred in the parking lot, Marion began to panic. With snow raining down from the skies and temperatures plummeting, she knew she had to activate his The Clackamas County Oregon Sheriff's Department was called in and the search for
Oh
Fred
man,
began.
went the wrong fucking way.
For the next morning, over 50 search and rescue and law enforcement personnel had arrived to help search for Fred.
Damn.
An article from the Oregonian noticed that the searchers moved through the wilderness, blowing whistles and air
Fuck, I gotta
horns,
go
and
back
following shoe prints. Witnesses reviewed and placed Fred on Mount Hood. Sometime in the afternoon, he disappeared. Searchers found in the harsh conditions to keep on searching, and the National Guard's air ambulance was forced to call off their search after the weather became too severe. As snowstorms moved in and out of the area, searchers went back into the wilderness, hoping to find any sign of Fred, but there was nothing there. On March 27, 2003, the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office had officially called off the search, telling the Associated Press, "We've determined that the likelihood of his survivability is down to nothing. And for us to send those people out in these conditions would only put them in harm's way. The snow is coming down at approximately 4 inches an hour. The avalanche danger is extreme. There are whiteout conditions at about 5,000 feet, and the resource groups are exhausted." Fred's family were understandably devastated when the search was called off, and would tell investigators that while Fred was an experienced mountaineer, he had little to no winter experience. Also, on the day that Fred disappeared,
Oh shit.
mountain locator unit, which transmits the signal should the hiker become lost. Marion said he would rather get somewhere unemployed than travel by any sort of machine, as he likes the independence of it, and to be where other people are. He doesn't like using electronic support equipment. Authorities believe that if Fred had been carrying an MLU or PLD, he would have likely been found within hours of the witness. Alongside not carrying a GPS tracker or any kind of electronic equipment, Fred was also poorly prepared for the conditions. That's when overnight stay on Mount Hood. According to the Charlie Project, the man was carrying was some apples and 2 water bottles. With heavy snowfall and strong winds reaching over 100 miles an hour, it's unlikely that Fred survived the night on Mount Hood. No sign of his remains has ever been found. There was a glimmer of hope for Fred's disappearance in 2003. The remains were found in the Zigzag Canyon area of Mount Hood. Initially, it was revealed that these remains belonged to Fred, based on the items of clothing.
Oh shit.
However, just days later,
Let's see this motherfucker. Oh, you motherfucker. Let's see his ass.
Once again brought up
Oh, down there. Look at town.
Fred Crowley was described as a white kid wearing glasses. He was last seen carrying some apples and 2 water bottles. He was wearing a Vortex jacket and pants. Anyone with any information or might have seen the red card who's going missing, please contact the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office at 503-655-8218.
Another one down there.
Number 3, Kenneth Eldon Funk. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of information about who Kenneth Eldon Funk was as a person.
Got hit him one time.
Articles, websites that even mention his disappearance. It appears as
Another
though
one down
Kenneth's
there.
disappearance has been lost to time. Say the disappearance of this man. While the world might not have known his name before, we hope they do now. 57-year-old Kenneth Eldon Funk worked as a slot machine technician at the Sunset Station Hotel in Madison, Nevada.
I ain't give you a blueprint.
Children. And the information given, it appears as though they were a normal family.
6 minutes.
On June 19, 2004, Kenneth, his wife, and the family ventured down to Lake Mead, situated just outside the confines of the Las Vegas city limits. What should have been a day filled with family fun quickly turned into a nightmare. As the family were boating on the water, a large wave struck the boat, sending Kenneth's wife overboard. At the time of the incident, she was not wearing a life jacket, so Kenneth grabbed one and jumped into the lake after to try and save her. Unfortunately, Kenneth had severely underestimated the power of the waters below, and both he and his wife were split over within minutes. With a strong gust pushing the boat further out in the water, all the pair could do was tread water and wait to be saved. After 40 minutes had passed, Kenneth told his wife to let go. This was the last time Kenneth was ever seen again. Thankfully, Kenneth's wife was not named in any of the articles we found. She was rescued by park rangers in the hours after her ordeal. As the other family members the time she was rescued, the park rangers began looking for Kenneth. He was still authorities believe, naturally, that he may have drowned. The circumstances surrounding Kenneth's disappearance does not quite make sense. That's why Kenneth told his wife to let go when help was just around the corner. Kenneth Eldon Funk is described as a white male with brown hair and brown eyes, standing approximately 5 foot 11 inches tall and weighing 210 pounds. Last seen wearing a swimsuit, and anyone with any information who may have seen Kenneth on that day has to please contact the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department at 702-828-3111 and reference case number 120.
Oh shit! A bunch of suicide bombers.
David Bird Thompson lived a wild
A bunch of suicide bombers.
1969 and left his home in Hawkins, Minnesota, and went to Vietnam as a U.S. Press International correspondent. According to the website Find Dave, which was created by John.
Oh shit! Call them all suicide bombers.
Sometime in 1962 or 1962, which left him with a shortened left leg, a shortened left arm, and a shattered left shoulder. These injuries are classified as disabled. However,
oh man, I got this. 9 minutes. This suicide, this motherfucker.
It was absolutely
Kill squad don't get me and shit. I'm good.
Always had a keen interest in journalism, and after the war was over, he lived in various European countries, all while continuing to write. In 1979, Dave's book, In the Shining Mountains,
they sent me another one.
before he could enjoy any of the success that came with his experience. According to his younger brother, Dave had been struggling with his mental health in the lead up to his disappearance. His family said he'd been suffering from depression, along with mild delusions following the loss of his only brother. They were deeply concerned for David, but before he could receive any help, it was already too late. According to reports, David was last seen on Highway 7 at Millstone Road in Minnetonka, Minnesota, on July 1st, 1979. Since then, David has not made contact with his family. They are still desperately searching for answers. In his blog, Dave's younger brother Peter details how it wasn't unusual for him to go off camping for a while. But when months had passed without any contact, they knew something was wrong. David had been experiencing bizarre delusions, and his family began calling around hospitals and even mental health institutions, wondering whether he had been admitted. Unfortunately, these calls yielded no results. At one point, David's younger brother even called up with an elaborate social security plan to see if David had used his number or had another registered address elsewhere. David's family have never stopped looking. That's evidence in the blogs and website posts read by his family members. Numerous psychics have even been contacted over the years, with Dave's family desperate to find any trace of him. What is interesting to note is that he left behind his second book, The Solar Kid, which is only 3/4 finished. But why would he leave his almost finished book? Some have speculated that David may have even begun to live like the character from his first book, In the Shining Mountains. The Charlotte Project summarized the book as being about a man who seems to live like an old-fashioned mountain man. Finds his dream into the
suicide squad.
So, did David want to live off the grid and away from the struggles and pressures of modern life? Or did something happen to him while he was hitchhiking? We still don't know where David was headed when he was hitchhiking. And over the years, there have been precious few violent deaths. At one point, David's younger brother Peter began conducting his own investigation, which is great. His family also began to look at shotguns in the area and all across the U.S. But so far, no leads have ever come of this. In the final part of his blog, Peter wrote, in June 2014, I started this website. I'm putting everything I know about Dave's disappearance on it. I hope soon to have a crowdfunding sourcing site to increase the amount of the reward money. The reward would go to the first person to find Dave Thompson. I'm not seeking justice anymore, just close. David Bird Johnson is described as a white male with brown hair and blue eyes, standing approximately 5 foot 9 inches tall, and weighed between 175 and 185 pounds when he went missing. David may go by the names Bird or even Chris, has the following injuries: a scar on his right elbow, a fractured right arm. His left leg is 3/8 of an inch shorter than the right. His left arm is shorter than his right due to shattered left shoulder. David also suffers from scoliosis and was battling depression and was having delusions at the time of the disappearance. Anyone with any information at all, no matter how insignificant it may seem, is asked to please contact the Minnetonka Police Department at 52-939-8500 and reference case number 920000446. And finally, number 1, William Thomas Ukiah Duncan. William Thomas Ukiah Duncan was last seen near Dry Creek, past the Mount Hagen Wildlife Management Area on Fort Creek Road in Anaconda, Montana, May 27, 2012. Dry Creek is mostly known for its fishing access to the Clark Fork River, and it provides a peaceful escape from outside world. In the years before his disappearance, William, who goes by Will, had moved to 7th Street in Billings, Montana, from Anaconda. His friends and family described him as a keen and experienced outdoorsman who knew how to survive in the wilderness and was always looking for the next big adventure. But when he failed to make contact with his family following his outing in May of 2012, they knew something was wrong. His family recalled to the Billings Gazette, "It wasn't unusual for Will to go into the mountains for sometimes months at a time, but this time, in May, he did not call or leave a message to let them know where he was going. The search of his home didn't produce any notes or clues. When his family tried to call him, they were taken straight to his voicemail, meaning his phone had been turned off and run out.
Oh shit, damn! Fucker, goddamn!
Decided to contact the
Fucking motherfuckers.
near Lodge County
Bombers and shit. Suicide bombers and shit. Did that shit again.
Soon for the Denver Search and Rescue, performed a ground search of Dry Creek.
Fucking suicide bombers and shit.
One article for the Billings Gazette mentions that the Montana Highway Patrol could be called to use their helicopter to scan the area, although it has not been confirmed where this search ever took place. According to Namus, this truck was found abandoned on Dry Creek Road and had been abandoned for at least 3 weeks after he had been posted reported missing on June 19, 2012.
Oh, I got one more
William
time.
Thomas Ukiah Duncan is described as a white male with brown hair and blue eyes, stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, and weighs 165 pounds. He may also go by the name William Ukiah Duncan or William W. Duncan. Anyone with any information at all is asked to please contact the Anaconda Deer Lodge County Police Department at 406-563-5241 and reference case number 212-CR-000-3587. Well, friends, there you have it. What do you make of these strange disappearances? Look forward to your ideas, theories, comments, but please keep it friendly and respectful. Until we meet again, be good to yourselves and each other. Stay safe out there this summer. As for me, I'll see you a little farther on down the trail. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'll talk to you next time.
I could really use your help.
How much?
Helicopters flew over the rugged mountains near Lincoln, New Hampshire for 4 days. Search and rescue crews went out looking on foot, but it wasn't until Friday night that a couple of amateur hikers found 70-year-old Chris Staff.
I just got disoriented. I got on the wrong side of, there was washouts and things like that, and I couldn't find the right path. I'd see people across the river and, tell them I'm in distress, and one guy told me to come across, and, I thought I had somebody who's going to help me, but I don't know if they're real or not, because I crossed the river and nobody's there.
Lost in the woods for nearly a month, 25-year-old Lisa Ferris beat all odds, living off berries and mushrooms and drinking from creeks to survive.
Back
from the dead.
I woke up and it's about
Michael McCarthy was the lifeboat on the Navy cruise found in Mount Rainier National Park last weekend. Lost overnight in the world's treating conditions.
big white owl.
We rescued 8 police at Harvard Medical Center in Seattle, West Coast. Doctors jumping into action, administering CPR, under
Damn.
45 minutes, finally jump-starting his heart.
I'm extremely grateful to everybody here at the hospital. Not giving up on me. I'm alive, breathing.
Well, the big question police are asking tonight is still simply how 49-year-old Constantino Stanley Philippidis wound up missing here at Whiteface Mountain and turned up alive nearly 3,000 miles away 6 days later in Sacramento, California.
Amanda Heller, therapist who's walking the pace of hours, telling her story for the first time she was found and been missing for 17 days.
Yeah.
I think it's just a great to figure out really what the heck he was doing there. That's where ground was way to put it.
Reinforcements incoming.
But there was something bigger in play. So Mongo Force in particular, there's something very risky there.
Tonight, rescuers are calling it a miracle. A teenager surviving 8 days alone in the Washington wilderness on creek water and berries. Sons John
Right back.
Kursky and Jonas Irwin feared the worst after rescue missions by land and sea turned into recovery efforts for their parents, Carol and Ian. Family and officials say it was thanks to the couple's background in the outdoors that helped them survive.
I was like an herbalist, like a mushroom hunter. My dad, with his background, they know how to like find things and eat. So they're eating like some part. My mother said, I lost a shoe, so I was walking with one shoe, and then I lost the other shoe, and I kept walking with my socks. Then I got tired of walking my socks, so I was walking there. Eating is not fun. It's the so the Carol could go over.
Police and 19-year-old Madison Felicio never came home Sunday after hiking on Mount Algonquin. More than 60 people set out to search for them Monday, fighting their way through deep snow and rough terrain. 36 hours after they went missing, the hikers were airlifted just below the 5,000-foot summit.
Tonight, the miraculous rescue of Cheryl Powell, finally surrounded by family again. The 60-year-old who went missing in central California's White Mountains, found alive just hours ago, 3 days after she vanished in the wilderness.
A remarkable story of survival. New details tonight on a mother from San Francisco Valley who was stranded missing for nearly a week before she was
Yes.
There are two cases where people have gone missing. And what was, and it never seen. But what the people who went missing and have in many instances, these people tend to be unable to remember what they were being. This is understandable in the case of small children. The situation
Looks like you earned yourself another bounty. Well done.
Talk about it.
Another agent is now in your group.
I'm reticent to talk about what happened.
Backup arrival confirmed.
Now, this may sound odd, but when you hear the stories of those who are willing to talk about it, it starts to make more sense.
Backup arrived.
Presented here are 13 stories of those who have disappeared, yet lived to return and share their bizarre tales. Let's begin. Robert Singley. Now, if you ask the locals in Bennington, Vermont, they'll tell you there's something very wrong with Glastonbury Mountain. That particular stretch of the Appalachian Trail has caused many investigators into the paranormal to come to some pretty ominous conclusions because of all the people who have gone missing there, never to be seen again. Some call it the Bennington Triangle, a reference to the Bermuda Triangle. Many people complain that ships go mysteriously missing, never to be seen again, with no rhyme, reason, or explanation. There are also tales told of a Bennington monster, which
attacks humans and abducts them,
Inventory.
leaving no trace they were ever
Social.
there. Others still talk to the Native American stories of rocks that open up and swallow people whole in this place.
Inventory.
This is where the four winds meet. None of
Seasons.
this seemed to be of any concern, though, to 27-year-old UBC music teacher Robert Singley when he decided to go for a hike one Sunday afternoon a couple of years ago. Robert hiked the trail often when he lived in Bennington and never had any strange experiences or problems. He hiked Harbor Road in Woodford Hollow and had a pleasant enough time despite the cold temperature. However, while he made his way back to his car, he suddenly became very disoriented. He attempted to make a fire once he realized he was lost, and because darkness was falling, he didn't stand much chance of making it back to his car until daylight came. However, his attempts were futile because the rain had suddenly started almost immediately upon Robert losing his way. As his girlfriend at home worried, Robert struggled to gain an understanding of
Two more.
why he had so suddenly become confused and disoriented. Robert stated, "I still think I got sucked through some sort of space-time continuum. He often took these long hikes, but on this day, he came out of nowhere, and it was instantly dark, seemingly much before the time of
Friendly
nightfall.
combatants detected.
Robert couldn't explain how he managed to just lose the trail he was so steadily walking on only seconds before. He spent the night underneath a tree and somehow made his way out the following day. He is one of the lucky ones. This exact spot is where Father Weldon,
An
the
agent is no
common
longer
sergeant,
in your
last seen
group.
alive 62 years ago. There's something about random inclement
You
weather
have been
in these
promoted to
cases,
group leader.
kind of like Mother Nature is playing a game. Seems that in a lot of missing person cases,
Inventory.
immediately once a search starts, foul weather comes in. Now, what is causing all these seemingly healthy and somewhat experienced hikers to suddenly and for no apparent reason become disoriented and start wandering through deep woods instead of sticking to their trails? That's a question we may never have an answer to. But let's move on. Christopher Staff. Christopher Staff, a 70-year-old man from Dorchester, Massachusetts, went hiking alone in New Hampshire's White Mountains. He decided to embark on the very challenging 31-mile Pemigewasset Loop Trail with no problems or concerns. He even called his wife the following day and told her he would be home by that evening. He seemed in good spirits and as though the hike had been going well.
Inventory.
Later that evening, after receiving no further word from Christopher, his wife
Social.
called the authorities and reported him missing. A large-scale rescue effort was put into effect
You
with
have
18
left.
teams,
Damn,
nearly
niggas
30
got both.
officers and
Press X to
volunteers, all
start.
out scouring the trail and surrounding areas, looking for any sign of Christopher. Fear for his life and well-being mounted